Hello and welcome to my reaction to the year 1933 as depicted on Wikipedia. So it's not exactly the most top-notch method of researching the year of 1933, but it will have some important dates and events, and I'm assuming it'll have a lot of Nazi type of crap on it, because obviously that was the era. And unfortunately, a lot of that stuff is still stuck around. Um, I also want to note that I did record a reaction to the year 1983, but my computer broke due to an automatic update thanks to Microsoft. They kind of screwed me over, and I had to get a new computer, so now I have this Google Chromebook, which I'm still getting used to, by the way. So, yeah. Microsoft, you suck. Windows, you. But anyway, here's my reaction to the year 1933. Okay, so in January 1933, the London Underground diagram, designed by Harry Beck, is introduced to the public. So that was basically for their tubeway system. Alright. And January 5, construction of the Golden Gate Bridge begins in San Francisco Bay. Well, everybody knows about the Golden Gate. It's quite a monumental thing, right? Everybody's heard of it. Just about. January 11th, Sir Charles Kingsford Smith makes the first commercial flight between Australia and New Zealand. January 15th through March 2nd, a teenage girl in Banno, Belgium, reports 8 Marian apparitions, which become known as Our Lady of Banno. I don't know what the hell that is. Sounds weird, though. January 15th again, political violence causes almost 100 deaths in Spain. Well, January 17th, the United States Congress votes in favor of Philippines' independence against the wishes of U.S. President Herbert Hoover. Whenever I hear the name Hoover, I always think of a Rage Against the Machine lyric that goes, Hoover, Hoover, he was the body remover. Burp. That was a burp. January 20th, the world premiere of the Czech erotic romance film Ecstasy in Prague, starring Hedy Lamarr, causes a sensation. She's just 18 years old. Okay. Yep. January 23rd, the 20th Amendment of the United States Constitution is ratified, changing inauguration day from March 4th to January 20, starting in 1937. And January 20 is going to be quite an interesting day here in 2020. This country's nuts. I mean, I don't believe that Biden stole the election, but apparently a lot of Trumpists do, so what can you do about it? I mean, they have no evidence in the courts and all that. They lost 50 times, and they're trying to claim, Joe Biden coordinated with Antifa, the CIA, Venezuela, Hugo Chavez ghost. Did I mention China? Oh, and Antifa's in there as well. And the Clinton administration, George Soros. Basically, all these characters and countries that are boogeymen to the right-wingers, they just threw them all in there in these court case claims. And, it's like a dartboard, like seeing which darts will actually stick. And apparently none of them have, so maybe that's not the most fitting analogy. Because usually even like somebody who's really shitty at playing darts, at least some of them will actually hit the board. Maybe by dumb luck they would even get a bullseye. But in this case, no, they're all missing that board. But anyway, moving on, January 28th, Pakistan Declaration. Chaudhry Ramat Ali publishes in Cambridge, England, a pamphlet entitled Now or Never, Are We to Live or Perish Forever?, in which he calls for the creation of a Muslim state in northwest India that he calls Pakistan. This influences the Pakistan movement. Obviously, a vitally important day. January 30th, Nazi leader Adolf Hitler is appointed Chancellor of Germany by President of Germany Paul von Hindenburg. And that could be likened to another Hindenburg disaster. Also, Edouard Daladier forms a government in France in succession to Joseph Paul Boncourt. He is succeeded on October 26th by Albert Sarrat and on November 26th by Camille Chautemps. So I suck at pronouncing French words. So be prepared for that when I read, some of these events here. And basically, I suck at pronouncing a lot of different words in general. So here's some actual good news. On the same day that Hitler, rose into power, the Lone Ranger is broadcast for the first time on American radio. So that's possibly good news anyway. Definitely better than the Hitler shit. Okay, on February 1st, Adolf Hitler gives his proclamation to the German people in Berlin. Like I said, this would have a lot of Hitler-type news. So, yeah, it was that time frame. On February 2nd, a second international conference on disarmament ends without results. It tries to limit the army sizes of the major powers. While Germany is entitled to 200,000, Germany leaves the conference because a plan postpones the limitations for 4 years. Okay. February 3, Adolf Hitler gives a secret speech to his military leaders, outlining his plans to rearm Germany in defiance of the Treaty of Versailles and to adopt a policy of Lebensraum in Eastern Europe. So basically, he was coordinating in secret. And February 5, a mutiny starts on the Royal Netherlands Navy coastal defense ship Die Savon Provincienne in the Dutch East Indies. After 6 days, it is bombed by Dutch aircraft, killing 23 men, and the remaining mutineers surrender. February 6, the 20th Amendment to the United States Constitution goes into effect. Okay, we talked about that earlier. February 6 through 7, officers on the USS Ramapo record a 34-meter-high sea wave in the Pacific Ocean. Wow. Kind of a big wave there, huh? February 9th, the King and County debate, or country debate. I'm so used to seeing the word country and thinking it's county. I don't know why that happens in my brain, but it happened again. The Oxford Union Student Debating Society in England passes a resolution stating that this house will in no circumstances fight for its king and country. Okay. February 10, the New York City-based Postal Telegraph Company introduces the first singing telegram. People don't seem to do anything like that anymore. They don't have singing telegrams very often. They don't have, quality service at the gas station, gas pump. Nobody talks about a milkman or doctors making house calls. It's all very impartial now. It seems like, to me. Anyway, February 15th, in Miami, Giuseppe Zangara attempts to assassinate President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt, but instead fatally wounds the mayor of Chicago, Anton Chermak. Okay. February 17th, Newsweek magazine is published for the first time in the United States. Well, whoop-de-doo. The Blaine Act passes the United States Senate. submitting the proposed 21st Amendment to the Constitution to the states for ratification. The amendment is ratified on December 5, ending prohibition in the United States. Well, we sure have learned a lot since then, right? I mean, how many years has the drug war been raging on, with many of the same results that we saw during the alcohol prohibition era? Well, I do think the United States is moving considerably closer to legalizing marijuana, but, it's been a long time for that to actually get this far. So on February 27th, the Reichstag fire happened. Germany's parliament building in Berlin, the Reichstag building, is set on fire under controversial circumstances. Yep, February 28th, the Reichstag fire decree is passed in response to the Reichstag fire, nullifying many German civil liberties. Also on February 28th, English cricket team in Australia did something. They won something I don't really care about. Don't really care that much about sports. Alright, so in March 2nd, the original film version of King Kong starring Fay Wray premieres at Radio City Music Hall and the RKO Roxy Theater in New York City. Quite a big movie, very influential. There are definitely a few questionable aspects of that King Kong movie, but it's a classic. March 3rd. I'm gonna skip a couple of these because they're... Well, I guess the Mount Rushmore National Memorial is dedicated in South Dakota. Obviously, Trump is relevant to this again. Like, there's been a lot of talk about monuments, and Mount Rushmore being one of them. Let's see, 1933, the Sanriku earthquake. A powerful earthquake and tsunami hit Honshu, Japan, killing approximately 3,000 people. March 4th, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or Delano, jeez. Anyway, FDR is sworn in as the 32nd President of the United States, bringing his first 100 days. In reference to the Great Depression, he proclaims, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself," in his inauguration speech. It is the last time Inauguration Day in the United States occurs on March 4th. Alright, on that same day, Frances Perkins becomes United States Secretary of Labor and first female member of the United States Cabinet. The Parliament of Austria is suspended because of a quibble over procedure. Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss initiates authoritarian rule by decree. An origin of Austrofascism. Well, you have quite a lot of crappy things going on at this point in time. March 5, the Great Depression, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt declares a bank holiday, closing all United States banks and freezing all financial transactions. The holiday ends on March 13. Okay, in March 1933, German federal election, National Socialists, aka Nazis, gained 43.9% of the votes. Who else has around that amount of support in elections? Anyway, March 6th, Mayor Anton Chermak of Chicago dies of the wound he received on February 15th. March 7th, the real estate trading board game Monopoly is invented in the United States. March 9, Great Depression news. The United States Congress begins its first 100 days of enacting New Deal legislation. March 10, the Long Beach earthquake shakes Southern California with a maximum mortality intensity of severe, killing 115 people. March 12, as far as FDR goes, he addresses the nation for the first time as president in the first of his fireside chats. March 14th, Indonesian Association Football Club. Okay. I don't really care that much. Don't care about sports things a whole lot. Okay. I'm going to skip one other one. Austrian Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss keeps members of the National Council from convening, starting the Austro-fascist dictatorship. On March 20th, Dachau, the first Nazi concentration camp, is completed, and it opens on March 22nd. Yeah, they got the ball rolling pretty fast on that one, huh? First of a series of meetings in the United States called by Jewish organizations calling for an international anti-Nazi boycott in response to the persecution of German Jews. Giuseppe Zangara, the attempted assassin of FDR, is executed by the electric chair. March 22nd, President FDR signs an amendment to the Volstead Act, known as the Cullen-Harrison Act, allowing the manufacture and sale of 3.2% alcohol and light wines. March 23rd, the Reichstag passes the Enabling Act, making Adolf Hitler dictator of Germany. Okay. Lots of bullshit going on. March 27th, Japan announces it will leave the League of Nations due to a cancellation period of exactly 2 years. The aggression becomes effective March 27, 1935. On March 29th, Welsh journalist Gareth Jones makes the first report in the west of the Holodomor famine genocide in Ukraine. March 31st, the Civilian Conservation Corps is established with the mission of relieving rampant unemployment in the United States. Well, I think that's going to do it for part 1 of this series. As you can see, a lot of these issues in 1933 were actually, they were almost like precursors to 2020 in some ways. You know, I guess we have a lot of these same issues just as like a mainstay of human political systems. But it's hard not to really notice some overlap. I don't want to read too much into that, but, you know, there's definitely some... We never really seem to fully resolve some of these stupid problems that we cause for ourselves. So anyway, I'm going to upload, part 2 eventually. But I'm going to give it a break for now, and, we'll see what the future holds.